Sune Lee in a dazzling new way. Like the rest of the world this once July, I watched in admiration as Turner Suni Lee delivered one emotional performance after another at the existent teach-around final at the Tokyo Olympics. She started with a clean vault that outgunned her career stylish, also took control of the uneven bars, virtually dancing skyline in the most delicate routine in the world. Next came the ray, where she pulled off an inconceivable save, and eventually, she ended on the bottom with the astral balance of grace and power. But what I saw coming, her family back home in St. Paul, Minnesota, sitting in violent silence as the final scores were tabulated, followed by an eruption of cheers, is what brought me immense pride as an Asian American. Suni is the first Hmong American to ever share in an Olympic Games, let alone win a gold order. She's come a lamp of honor for both Hmong and Asian American communities across the nation, and she does not carry the weight of that representation smoothly. As an athlete who has done gymnastics competitively since the age of 7, the now 18-time-old understands that managing with pressure is a part of the game. Yet following a whirlwind Olympic experience, Suni finds herself facing a different kind of pressure, one that comes with the plethora of openings offered to athletes of gold order quality. "I surely do not see myself as an Olympic gold semi-finalist," she says. "I surely do not see myself as an Olympic gold semi-finalist." Moment, Suni calls me on her way from gymnastics practice to practices for Dancing with the Stars, a last nanosecond occasion that moved her out of her beginner dorm at Auburn University in Alabama after 2 weeks on lot. It's been 8 weeks since she got back from Tokyo, and she has yet to have a moment of peace. She's driving herself around LA, offering some important demanded alone time, as she begins to explain exactly how she's juggling gymnastics practice, a hit cotillion competition series, practice, and public appearances. All while living in a new megacity as a teenager who just made history. Suni might appear shy and soft-spoken, but below the face, she's further tone apprehensive than the most grown-ups I know. She admits it's not easy. She's overwhelmed. "I am only 18, living in LA, and I've all of these prospects on me," she says. "I am only 18, living in LA, and I've all of these prospects on me." Suni had been concentrated on a single thing for the once 12 times winning Olympic gold. It's an accomplishment she's worked toward since she was 6 times old, doing flips on the new ray her pater erected in their vicinity. And she really has further orders in her future. But when you achieve your lifelong thing at 18, how do you navigate your coming move? "Nothing anticipated me to win the gold order, so when I did, my life turned overnight," she says. After fellow Olympic turner Simone Biles withdrew from the platoon tests in Tokyo to prioritize her internal health, Suni took her place on the bottom. At that moment, she learned that when she demanded to, she could step up to the plate and bring her stylish. She's being humble, supposedly. Jess Graba, her longtime trainer and proprietor of Midwest Gymnastics, was not one bit surprised. "Nothing anticipated me to win the gold order, so when I did, my life turned overnight," he tells me. Despite strict COVID guidelines, family rigors, and no observers in the crowd to cheer her on, Suni went on to take home 3 orders for Team USA. While Suni may have shocked the world and may be indeed herself, she's always had the support of both her natural and chosen family, which includes members of her Hmong community in St. Paul. Sports are not conventional career paths in Hmong American communities or indigenous homes, but youthful Suni set off on an untraditional trip thanks to her parents, Ye Ifthij and John Lee, who cherished her and her siblings' love for sports. "I know that there is a standard that Hmong girls have to live up to," Suni says, and she's proud of leading the way in sculpturing out a different path for herself. Cherished Suni's family Cheyenne Lee shares, adding that so numerous are inspired by how she's let the world know who they're as a community. When Suni's pater, John, first met Ye-If and 2-time-old Suni, he'd 2 kiddies, Jonah and Cheyenne, from a former relationship. John and Ye-If laterally added to their amalgamated ménage with Suni's half-siblings Sivian, Lucky, and Noah. Firstly born Suni Zafobzampo, Suni espoused John's last name as a teenager as the two developed a special relationship through their participated passion for gymnastics. John was by her side at every single competition, so much so that she superstitiously determined that a pre-meet vim talk and clinch with her pater would incontinently help her contend better. That made her father's injury in 2019 all the more delicate. Days before the public crowns, John fell off at graduation and came paralyzed from the casket down. It broke Sune's heart to see her pater using a wheelchair, in pain, unfit to return to his active life. But John did not let that stop her from giving up their dream. He was the bone who claimed she'd go to the crowns. The VIM addresses continued, now over FaceTime. Sune's support system is solid, but elite slimnastics is eventually a solo game, and the training that is needed is purely independent. The strain of rehearsing alone every single day, as the only nobility at her original spa, and after multiple epidemic detainments, plant Sune allowing about quitting just days before the Olympic trials, during what she describes as the hardest week of her life. She thrives as a platoon player and relies on that bond to carry her to success. Sisterhood is what fueled her at the Tokyo Olympics and gave her the strength to step up for her platoon. Sune explains that this special bond between the women on Team USA was necessary. Else, we weren't going to be suitable to pull it together. When Simone had to step down, it was really sad and hard for all of us, Sune's fellow public teammate Jade Carey tells me. But I really saw Sune step up. We all stepped up, but Sune just knew that she had to do it. She's a fierce contender. It's important, like the trust she shares with her family Cheyenne, a cotillion whom Sune's trainers enlisted for backing and calculating her bottom routine for the Olympics, the veritably routine that helped Sune take home the gold. Cheyenne had been helping out at Sune's spa, Midwest Gymnastics, training toddlers and working with youngish turners on their bottom routines, when the trainers noticed her implicit to help Sune loosen up. They knew I could let go and be free with her, Sune says. It's clear their relationship is a special bone. Sune, she's my other half, Cheyenne tells me. They knew I could let go and be free with her. That association is also the connection Sune looks forward to forming with her teammates on the Auburn Barracuda. Everything is serious in elite, she explains, so she just wants to get out on the mat and have fun with her platoon. It's a whole new experience, she says. It's a whole new experience. For Sune, doing what she loves now comes with the responsibility of the limelight. She'd been one to watch long before Tokyo, but her Olympic run, and posterior DWTS debut, pelted her into a position of fame she was not prepared to face. All eyes are going to be on not only me, but my whole council platoon, Sune says, noting that the Auburn Arena had formally vended out of tickets for its forthcoming slimnastics season. It's one thing to defy pressure as a turner and another to handle the stardom that comes with getting a public figure. From attending her first Met Gala to landing appearances on Dream Talk shows, she's thankful for the amazing guests. Yet with all the noise, the pressure from both herself and the people around her, she's floundering to carouse in the moment. I am getting too caught up in my head that it's taking away the joy from the experience, Sune says. I am getting too caught up in my head that it's taking away the joy from the experience. She only begins to peel back the reality of youthful Olympians who've become celebrities overnight. She does not want to be rich. She does not want to be notorious. She just wanted to go to the Olympics, says Jess, who has trained with Sune since she was 7 times old. He treats Sune like his own child, his oldest son. He reserved the first flight out to LA when Sune called him crying after a particularly inviting day many weeks prior. And he was the one she called following a distressing hassle motivated by racist partisanship. Sune's accomplishments do not make her vulnerable to the painful and dangerous realities of anti-Asian hate in America. With the rate of unprovoked violence against Asian Americans fueled by COVID-19 misinformation continuing to climb across the nation, she tells me she planned herself facing a racist attack a week before our discussion. While staying for an Uber after a night out with her lady loves, who were all of Asian descent, they were startled by a group speeding by in an auto yelling racist slurs like Ching Chong and averring they Ching Chong. One passenger, Sune says, scattered her arm with pepper spray as the auto sped off. I was so frenetic, but there was nothing I could do or control because they skirted off, she recalls. I was so frenetic, but there was nothing I could do or control because they skirted off. Having grown up in a tight-knit community full of Hmong Americans like herself, she struggles to wrap her head around these spiteful crimes. It's delicate to speak up about uncomfortable motifs like ethnical injustice, especially at her age, but she knows that using her voice makes a difference. As she continues to sculpt out a path for her coming move, like any 18-time-old, exploring her independence is at the van. College was always part of Sune's plan. She committed to Auburn, where Jess's binary family, Jeff Graba, heads the gymnastics platoon, over 4 times gone. And her Olympics success hasn't changed that decision. Sune is actually not big on academics, but she's itching for a normal council experience. I lost my whole knowledge to gymnastics, she says, recalling a strict schedule devoid of football games and high academy parties. I lost my whole knowledge to gymnastics, but when DWTS called with an occasion to contend on its 30th season, she could not pass it up. Maybe maintaining instigation was a factor, but what she really asked was to try commodity different. I was doing gymnastics for, 12 times, and I feel like I know I had time to just do anything delightful, Suni says. Luckily, the show has offered a sense of independence as it's forced her to embark on a new, albeit temporary, adventure in LA. I was doing gymnastics for, 12 times, and I feel like I know I had time to just do anything delightful, she explains.